Good morning, everyone. I'm going to start with a new topic, Rajyasabha, and the chapter is Legislature. The book is NCERT Class 11 Political Science. So पहले हमने देखा था राज्यसभा. It represents the states of India. That's why it is called Council of State. Then the members of Rajya Sabha, they are indirectly elected by members of State Legislative Assembly, and they are elected via an indirect method called proportional representation by single transferable vote. फिर हम बात करते हैं the different principles of representation in the second chamber, that is in the Council of States. So one way is to give equal representation to all the parts of a country irrespective of their size or population, which is called symmetrical representation. तो ऐसा उन कंट्रीज में पॉसिबल है जहाँ पे या तो पॉपुलेशन कम है या होमोजीनियसली स्प्रेडेड है. And दूसरा तरीका is to give representation according to their population. So in the second method, different regions which have larger population will have more representatives in the second chamber than the regions that have less population. So in the case of the USA, every state has equal representation in the Senate. So in this case, small state would have the same representation as the larger state. But this method could not have worked in India क्योंकि इंडिया की पॉपुलेशन इट इज heterogeneous and then population base is larger. So उस केस में different state, कुछ states हैं वो बहुत बड़े हैं, कुछ states हैं बहुत छोटे हैं. So to avoid this discrepancy, जो Indian constitution makers हैं, they followed the asymmetrical method of representation, in which जिस state की population ज़्यादा है, it will have more representatives, and then the numbers of members to be elected from each state has been fixed by fourth schedule of the constitution. And then comes the question, what would happen if we were to follow the American system of equal representation in the Rajya Sabha? So agar aisa hum karte, then situation would be like Uttar Pradesh with a population of 200 million would get equal seat to that of Sikkim, whose population is not even near to 1 million. So यहाँ पे there will be a large discrepancy, 200 million versus 1 million, and दोनों populations को अगर बराबर seats दी जाती, then representation होता ही नहीं. The small state will have exponentially larger share than the large state. So Indian case में state with larger population will get more representatives than the state with smaller populations. So that's why, according to the fourth schedule, Uttar Pradesh it sends 31 members to Rajya Sabha, while Sikkim it gets 1 seat. Then members of Rajya Sabha, they are elected for 6-year term, and they can get re-elected, and then all the members of Rajya Sabha do not complete their term at the same time. Here, after every 2 years, 1/3 members of Rajya Sabha they complete their term, they retire, and elections are held for those 1/3 seats only. So that's why Rajya Sabha is never fully dissolved and it is called permanent house of parliament. So अब इस arrangement को देखते हैं what it is. So the cardinal point, first tenure जो है वो 6 year का है. Then after every 2 year, 1/3 retire and re-elected because elections are held, and वो नहीं तो कोई और, they will definitely get a place to refill the member quota. अब ये situation क्यों है? अगर इसी के comparison में if we see look at लोकसभा, So Lok Sabha का equation it's very clear. First maximum five year. उसके बाद एक साथ ही all the members of Lok Sabha they get retire, they complete their term and elections are held. Then the second equation premature dissolution भी हो सकता है, prematurely elections हो सकते हैं, लोकसभा dissolve की जा सकती है. वो first caveat is death of prime minister. Second, no confidence motion if passed. And third, if PM advises president to dissolve Lok Sabha. So in तीन situations में लोक सभा dissolve हो सकती है before 5 year term. Otherwise 5 साल का rule everyone knows. But the arrangement in Rajya Sabha it is totally different. First members have 6 year term, then or not all the members retire at the same time. So it means Lok Sabha is never dissolved. It is always continued. That's why it is called a permanent chamber. So ये possible कैसे है उसका एक simple सा देखते हैं. So 1952 जब the constitution came into full force with the initiation of first Lok Sabha, उस time Rajya Sabha का scene would have been somewhere like this. Let's see. These 6 members were elected in the first instance. यहाँ पे आप total strength को देख सकते हैं. I have taken these 6 members just for illustration. So अब rule same है, 6 year term सबका है, and after second year 1/3 retire हो जाएंगे. So यानी अगर total strength, if we equate the total strength of Rajya Sabha to this 6 members, it means 2 members will retire after 2 years. So let's see the situation in 1954. अब 1954 में इन सब ने they have completed their 2 years. लेकिन to keep the house in permanent nature, इन दोनों को रिटायर होना पड़ेगा, चाहे वो री-इलेक्ट हो सकते हैं. So after 2 years, that is in 1954, these 2 members were retired and इनकी जगह पे 2 new members GH they were elected, and 1954 में the house looked like this: GH, CD, EF, the old members. Then again after 2 years 1/3 रिटायर होने यानी 2 members और रिटायर होने हैं. लेकिन उसके बाद अगर इक्वेशन देखें तो GH they completed their 2 years, CD and EF they have completed their 4 years. So this time C and D they have to retire and उनकी प्लेस पे कोई और आ जाएगा. So here in 1956 the situation would be somewhere like this: GH, JK, and then early member E and F. Then after 2 years, that is in 1958, again 1/3 members get to retire, and the tenure of members it would be G and H would have completed their 4 years, J and K would have completed 2 years, and E and F would have completed their 6 years. So ये दोनों अब retire हो जाएंगे. So 1958 में the situation would be GH would have completed 4, then JK 2 years each, and they will retire, and in their place will be filled by the first members who could not complete their 6 years, A and B. Then let's see the situation after 2 years, that is in 1960. By 1960, G and H, they would have completed their 6 years. J and K, they have completed their 4 years, and A and B would have completed their 2 years. So 1960 में G and H, they will retire, and by 1962 those members C and D, they were re-elected, and J and K, they would have completed their 6 years, and A and B, they would have completed their 4 years, and this process continues. अब situation is totally different. अब जो भी इसके बाद आता है, let's see the example of 1964. So C and D would have completed 4 years. J and K already retired, उनकी जगह पे X and Y आ गए. They complete their 2 years, and then A and B would have completed their 6 years and they retire. So this is how the situation works right now in Rajya Sabha, that after every 2 years, tenure of members, it is different in nature, and they can also get re-elected. So वो problem नहीं होती कि मुझे बराबर टाइम दिया या नहीं, वो नहीं. Every members complete. जैसे इनकी बात करते हैं X and Y, they got elected in 1962, so it means they will retire in 1968. In the same way, CD की बात करते हैं. CD, they were elected in 1960, so they will retire in 1966. So this is the way the 6 year tenure arrangement works in Rajya Sabha, and this is why Rajya Sabha is never dissolved. It is always a permanent house. So what is the advantage of this arrangement? And the advantage is that even when Lok Sabha is dissolved and elections are yet to take place, the meeting of a Rajya Sabha can be called and urgent business can be conducted. और वो आपको बताया कि लोकसभा कैन बी डिसॉल्व. बहुत सारे रीजंस हैं, 3 आपको बताए हैं, उन्हीं तीनों से बहुत सारे निकलते हैं. प्री मैच्योर डिसोल्यूशन, अभी तो वी आर सेइंग स्टेबल गवर्नमेंट दैट कंप्लीट देयर 5 year terms, बट देयर वाज अ टाइम बिटवीन 1989 to 1999. सो 10 साल का जो टाइम था, इन विच वी had seen 13 governments changing hands. यूजुअली होना चाहिए कि 10 साल के टाइम में there would be only 2 stable governments completing 5 year terms, but 13 government is a different example, and वो होता था premature dissolution because they could not prove their confidence in Lok Sabha. And even PM can advise the president to dissolve Lok Sabha prematurely. वो भी उसके भी examples हैं. We have seen examples from the reign of Indira Gandhi. So ऐसी situation में when Lok Sabha is dissolved and the country needs conduction of urgent business, so this task, it can be handled by having a permanent house, which is Rajya Sabha. Then let's talk about the strength of Rajya Sabha. So all in all, there are 250 members in Rajya Sabha, out of which 233 they are elected by state MLAs, and 12 are nominated by the president, who have made their mark in the fields of literature, art, social service, and sciences. Now let's have a different look at different articles that govern the functions of Rajya Sabha. First, Article 80, which lists the maximum strength of Rajya Sabha at 250. Kindly pay attention to my words. 250 is the maximum strength, out of which 238 will be elected and 12 will be nominated, which is fixed. अब Present time we are having 233 members, and this takes the total strength to 245. But Article 80, it permits maximization of strength up to 250. Then let's talk about Article 112, Section 1, which gives Rajya Sabha same power as Lok Sabha in the matters of receiving annual financial statement or budget. So बजट के डिस्कशन में, बजट रीडिंग में, बजट रिसेप्शन में राज्यसभा has equal power, but yes, Rajya cannot amend the sections of budget, cannot amend it. Rules of procedure will be followed, और जो budget है, it will be passage from Lok Sabha to Rajya Sabha in the usual manner, but Rajya Sabha do not have the power to amend any section or to show, it can show its displeasure at any particular section, but it cannot amend, it can suggest recommendation, but Lok Sabha is not bound by such recommendations, and even if Rajya Sabha does not pass the budget in 14 days, it is deemed to have been passed. So which means Rajya Sabha do not have much power while the power to changes are concerned. Other than that, in the matters of reception, Rajya Sabha is equally entitled. Then let's talk about Article 151, Section 1, which gives Rajya Sabha the power to receive audit reports from Comptroller and Auditor General. CAG, Comptroller and Auditor General, which is the government auditor. और ये ऑडिटर ये जितने भी डिपार्टमेंट्स हैं, मिनिस्ट्रीज हैं, सेक्शंस हैं, पीएसयूज हैं, डिपार्टमेंट्स, मिनिस्ट्रीज, जितना भी पैसा गवर्नमेंट के पास आया है, उसका इनकम एंड एक्सपेंडिचर इज looked on by the central auditor, which is known as CAG. And Rajya Sabha, by Article 151, has equal power to receive it. Then comes Article 249, by which if Union Parliament it may wants to make law on a state list, it needs authorization by Rajya Sabha. So without authorization by Rajya Sabha, Lok Sabha or government or parliament, it cannot legislate upon the matters of state list. अब ये आप जानते ही हैं, इंडियन कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन के अंदर power has been devolved both horizontally and vertically. So this horizontal devolution is between three organs of government: legislature, executive, and judiciary. So this is horizontal distribution of power. Then vertical distribution, which is distributed among different layers of government. So on the apex comes union government, then state, and then the local government. अब ये है कि यूनियन एंड स्टेट के बीच में जो पावर डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन है, दिस पावर डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन इट इज नोन एज सब्जेक्ट्स, कि कौन से कौन सी पावर्स हैं विच इज प्रिरोगेटिव ऑफ और अल्टीमेट जुरिस्डिक्शन ऑफ यूनियन गवर्नमेंट. तो जैसे डिफेंस मैटर हो गया, इट कैन नॉट बी गिवन टू स्टेट गवर्नमेंट्स. एटॉमिक एनर्जी हो गया, इट कैन नॉट बी गिवन टू स्टेट गवर्नमेंट. लेकिन वही लैंड की बात करते हैं, लैंड हो गया, पुलिस हो गया, एग्रीकल्चर हो गया. These are the subjects in which state government can work efficiently. So this distribution of power is called federal distribution of power via via union and state list. So union list में union subjects होंगे, state list में state subject होंगे. And these two spheres, they are not overlapping. It means union का अपना sphere है, state का अपना sphere है. स्टेट तो वैसे भी यूनियन के मैटर्स में कैन नॉट इंटरफेयर, बट यूनियन गवर्नमेंट इट कैन इंटरफेयर इन द मैटर्स ऑफ स्टेट, which can be put in the words of Dr. Bhimrao Ambedkar, that India is a indestructible unit of indestructible country of destructible units. destructible units, which means Indian Union, it cannot be destroyed. That's why it is called indestructible. But state units, they can be destroyed, they can be changed, they can be modified. That's why they are called destructible. So this is the primary difference. State cannot interfere in the union list, but union can interfere in the state list. But ये process it will not be arbitrary. ऐसा करने के लिए, if union wants to interfere in the state list or legislate upon matters of state list, it has to take permission of Rajyasabha, authorization of Rajyasabha by special majority. This is governed by Article 249. Then comes Article 312, which is about creation of All India Service. So All India Service, such as IAS, IPS, those public servants which can be employed in any part of country. So such All India Service, it is governed by Article 312, and the creation of any such All India Service, it is governed by, it is done by Rajya Sabha by passing a resolution to that effect. Now let's come back to the chapter. So this is it. Thank you very much and kindly subscribe the channel.